Crash Bandicoot. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people.
Crash Retrospectives! Let me finish.
Hello to you all, guys. Sorry, we're going to cut the bullshit right now and we're going to dive right into part 3 of my Crash Bandicoot retrospective on my little show called
Crash Retrospectives!
And that show is on my channel, which features other shows other than
Crash Retrospectives!
So go click it everywhere. Shit. Anyway, enough fucking around. We're going to go straight into it with a little game known simply as
Crash Bandicoot 4!
Oh yes, oh yes. Prepare for some potential cocksucking here, because this game is something I hold near and dear to me. After covering the first 2 differing games in depth in my last episode, I guess we know where everything stood so far with Naughty Dog's Crash Bandicoot series. Copies of both the games were selling like hotcakes, and both games offered relatively different gameplay styles and just overall different experiences. They had established themselves as PlayStation must-haves, as well as making Crash the Sony mascot and near icon status. And not only did this excellent third installment open even more doors for the meddling marsupial, it added even more to the Crash Bandicoot formula. Oh, by the way, release date, October 1998. Yeah, 1 year after the previous, yeah. I mean, how often does that level of pure commitment and skill come along in gaming nowadays? I'll tell ya. Fucking never!
So, in short answer to my last question in my last video last week, yes, the hat trick was officially scored, and that third goal was better than ever.
Wait, hold your horses for a second there. Because before I talk about this jizz all over your PS1 worthy game, I should mention that this was, in fact, the first video game I ever played. That memory of me opening that game when it came through the post pre-ordered is one of my earliest and greatest recollections. Consider this my introduction into the world of video games. And after replaying this again for the purpose of this retrospective, I may or may not have given birth as I revisited it. Plop, there's a baby. And because of this, you may have guessed that a slight level of bias may pop up here and there, but you know. So like before, this game begins where the original left off. Quite literally. Cortex goes boom after the second one, and what exactly happened to the inexplicable pieces of ship that flew towards planet Earth? Well, put your worries to rest, because this game shows you the bare bone. The ship parts do indeed fall, and as you'd expect, they go crash. Bandicoot. And these bits of ship have coincidentally landed on the prison for the demonic entity of all evil. Aku Aku's evil brother. Slabs of wood have siblings, apparently. Uka Uka. And I must say, this is the most badass piece of floating evil 2x4 I think I've ever seen. And we also discover that Cortex has actually been working for this guy all along. So obviously, Cortex has lost all the gems and the crystals to Crash, and
Uka Uka man.
So as Cortex begs for his forgiveness, Uka Uka explains that he has hired a new henchman to help the bad guys win forever, and that guy is Entropy, the master of time. This, children, is where you come in. Entropy built the warp room you're standing in, and he has been using it to harvest the crystals, gems, and these relics over here in different time periods and places all over the world, from the prehistoric times to the distant future. And so, in case you're stupid, you must take them all back and stop Cortex and Uka Uka before everything goes tits up. How do you do this exactly? Take a wild guess. By platforming all over the fucking place, defeating bosses, picking shit up and moving on. Where that might sound very similar to Crash 2, and really it kind of is, there is a bit more real chicken in this McNugget. Even though I fucking love Crash 2, I think that I fucking love Crash 3 just that little bit more. This game offers you just that little bit more than its predecessor in terms of gameplay, but for now we'll start with the similar consistencies between this and the second game. The major similarities that didn't really make a leap are the presentation and the controls. I might sound like a right twat when I say it like that, but trust me, it isn't a bad thing. Graphically, the styles, models, and general visuals are identical to the second, however there are a few more themed areas to explore. As Crash is travelling through time, this opened up tons of opportunities for the true Naughty Dog visual flair on all kinds of historical decor, such as the Middle Ages, Egyptian tombs, 1950s highways, Arabian towns, you name it. This makes Crash 3 stand out on its own a bit more, as it incorporates a lot more civilization and life into the mix, instead of sticking with the more natural and outdoor based levels beforehand. Buildings, houses, cars, even just the increased variety of things on screen. It gave Crash 3 a lot more life and light to an already bouncy and fun-hearted game. Also, the repeating environments and time periods you come across throughout the game always appear different one way or another. For example, the way that the weather ambience gradually becomes darker during the course of the game. And also, the death animations are back, and I don't think they've ever been finer than this. The soundtrack composer had made another glorious return and even pushed the bar on himself yet again by offering a lot more ethnically diverse and time period sensitive genres. And each tune is catchy and as fantastically made as the last. As for the control, it plays like a facelift, and it's pretty much identical to before, except now there are even more things to fuck around with, leading on to the gameplay. Like the second game, it also plays very similarly to before, and you get the bonus stages as well, and even the 2 endings to uncover again. But now, goddamn, it ain't half more fun. With a kind of sorta thing with Mega Man going on, as you defeat the bosses, you gain specialized power-ups which you can reuse practically everywhere to help you grab the gems. This was the major thing I loved about this. First off, the bosses are much more memorable and fun, and sometimes challenging, and the way that they constantly keep contacting you throughout your quest really builds them up, and it makes it that much more satisfying when you put them down. And once you do, you're properly rewarded. Access to the rest of the game is fine and everything, but I'd rather have an earthquaking body slam, or a double jump, or a super spin that can help you glide with the double jump, or a motherfucking bazooka. And the last power-up, the Crash Dash, which helps you run super fast, and therefore aids you in beating the time trials on each stage and grabbing the relics. And by the way, time trial stages are actually really fucking fun, and a trifle difficult in some places. And the relics also help you gain access to the secret warp room, where even more things can be obtained, and you also see the mass production of Cortex's minions in the background.
I think what my point is that the level of satisfaction and fun for grabbing the extra items isn't sacrificed by the time that you invest into them.
The other difference as well is the inclusion of Coco as a playable character, where she can ride a tiger along the Great Wall of China, ride a jet ski through dangerous pirate waters, and pilot a battle plane through the skies of World War I or II or possibly none of them. And she even gets a shot at her own boss battle in a spacecraft. As for Crash, along with his trademark platforming that we are all oh so familiar with, he also gets deep sea swimming, motorcycle racing, dino riding, flying, drowning. And the enemies are also as nuts as ever. Taken from the second game are the secrets, and where there are many secrets to be uncovered, they are a little bit easier to figure out and execute than before. But they are still a treat to work out, and sometimes can be bumbled on by accident. And the bosses, like I said, are much more memorable, integrated, and playable. I don't have one immediate criticism for this game, personally. Maybe that it's a little short? Who cares? I had a blast while it lasted, and I don't think this was that bad at all for my first ever real video game experience.
Also, does Crash Bandicoot 3 hold up today? Of course it fucking does. It's like the best fucking game ever.
Fun fact, did you know Naughty Dog were given officially 10.5 months to finish the game after the second one? I don't have a joke, I can't joke about that.
And so, without question, nobody can deny the talent that went into developing this, and even in the other two. The gameplay is fun, the music is feet-tapping excellence, the graphics are sexy, and the overall imagination is uncanny.
If I had to pick between the three, close call, I think I'd probably settle with 3.
It came so close between 2 and 3, but I settled on 3 for the simple fact that it is the most fun I had out of all the 3, which for a platformer is the main thing.
No, it's got nothing to do with the fact that it was my first ever video game. No, it's got nothing to do with it.
I do respect the second one more for the challenge and the leap it made from the first game. However, with 3, I just had the most fun with the mechanics, the bosses, the gameplay styles, as well as incorporating everything that the other 2 games had before it put into one. Naughty Dog had successfully created the perfect trilogy, leading to merchandise aplenty, a racing spin-off, and countless amounts of other sequels to continue its legacy. Crash Bandicoot was, and still is, one of the best series on the PS1 bar none, and all the games certainly hold up today, and I reckon will continue to do so until Doomsday destroys us all. And then we got fucking Crash Boom Bang, piece of fucking shit.
Subscribe.
Oh, hello, my beautiful people, and thank you very much for watching my first crack at any kind of retrospective. Yes, this is the final part. Stop asking about Crash Team Racing because I'm only doing the first 3 of the franchises. I might do a video about CTR later on because I really love that game, but for now, I'm afraid it's not going to be part of this retrospective because it is the first 3 of the franchise. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for enjoying. Thank you for clicking. Thank you for everything. I love every single one of you. Here's to a very bright and prosperous future. So please, have a nice day, night, or afterlife.